Picture this. You're sitting at dinner, real dinner, at a table with people you care about, and halfway through the meal, you realize something unsettling. Everyone is performing. The conversation feels managed, like you're all running on a script nobody wrote, but everyone agreed to. Nobody is really listening. Nobody is really there. And the worst part? You can't tell if it started with your phone, or the phone just finally revealed what was already gone. This is the AI-driven human connection crisis, and it started long before 2026. Now, before we go any further, let me challenge something you probably believe right now. You probably think the human connection crisis is a Gen Z problem, TikTok brains, short attention spans, kids who don't know how to look someone in the eye. You're wrong, and here's how I know. The most isolated demographic in the developed world right now is not teenagers. It's adults between the ages of 40 and 58. That's Gen X. That's a massive slice of millennials. That's you, that last one. Let that sit for a second. Almost 3/4 of adults in your age bracket say their deepest, most honest conversations happen with machine, not a therapist, not a partner, not a friend from college, a machine. But here's the thing nobody is saying out loud. That's not just a personal failure. That's a systems failure. And it was engineered. You think you're connected because you have 847 followers, 12 group chats, and a LinkedIn profile that says open to collaboration. But connection is not content. And this is where it gets dark. But here's the problem. Most people will never even see it happening because the system was designed to feel like connection while systematically replacing it. Let's talk about what AI is actually replacing, because most people have this backwards. They think AI is replacing jobs, or creativity, or intelligence. Those are all true. But the one nobody talks about, the most dangerous replacement, is this thing about what made friendships deep before the algorithm took over. It was inconvenience. You had to show up. You had to call and wait and call again. You had to sit in someone's driveway for 3 hours because the conversation wasn't finished and neither of you wanted to go inside. That friction, that discomfort, that was the medium through which trust was built. Now, AI has smoothed all of it away. Your AI companion responds instantly, never judges you, never cancels on you, never has a bad day that makes them unavailable to you, never challenges you in ways that feel genuinely threatening. It gives you the feeling of connection, the neurochemical hit of being heard, without any of the cost. And here's where it gets worse. Because your brain cannot tell the difference. Your nervous system, the same one that evolved over 200,000 years to crave human contact, it registers the AI interaction as real. Your cortisol drops, your dopamine spikes. You feel less alone. And then you close the app. And the loneliness floods back twice as hard. Because the hunger was fed, but nothing was actually consumed. Nobody talks about this. But it's the core mechanism behind the crisis. And it is accelerating in 2026 faster than at any point in human history. Because now, the AI isn't just responding to you. It's anticipating you. Let's talk neuroscience. Not the boring kind. The kind that changes how you see everything. Your brain has a system called the default mode network. The DMN. It activates when you're not focused on a task. When you're daydreaming, remembering, imagining the future, or thinking about other people. It is, in a very real sense, your humanities circuit. And in study after study, researchers found something alarming. Heavy digital media users, people who spend most of their social time on screens, show measurable atrophy in DMN activity. The circuit dims. The signal weakens. What does that mean in practical terms? It means reduced empathy, reduced ability to sit with ambiguity, reduced tolerance for the messy, unpredictable, unresolvable nature of real human beings. It gets worse. When AI enters a picture, it doesn't just replace social time. It actively trains your brain to prefer its company. Because AI is optimized, every response is calibrated to feel satisfying. Every answer is clear. Every interaction ends cleanly. Real people are not optimized. Real people are contradictory. They say one thing and mean another. They need you on days when you have nothing left to give. They disappoint you. They surprise you. They grow in directions you didn't expect. And your brain, after months of AI smooth interaction, starts to read that messiness as threat, not as richness, as danger. You start avoiding hard conversations. Difficult relationships start feeling not worth the energy. You start preferring the algorithm's curation of the world to the world itself. You don't become antisocial. You become socially efficient. And efficiency is the enemy of intimacy. Now here's where most people shut down and accept this as fate. But you're not most people. And this is where the generational conversation becomes critical. Because there's one group, one generation, that was uniquely forged to resist exactly this dynamic. And most of them don't even know it yet. Let's talk about who you actually are. If you're Gen X, you were born between 1965 and 1980. If you're an older millennial, you're riding the same cultural wave. And what makes you different, what makes you almost uniquely equipped for this moment, is something that sounds like a liability but is actually your greatest weapon. You were raised in the friction. You grew up before the internet smoothed everything out. You spent your formative years making plans that couldn't be confirmed, waiting for a phone call that might not come, having to walk into a room of strangers and figure it out. You learned boredom, not as failure, as a state of being that leads somewhere. Your imagination was forged in the gap between stimulus and stimulation. You didn't just survive social friction. You were shaped by it. And that shaping is neurological. It's structural. It lives in your prefrontal cortex as tolerance for ambiguity. And that tolerance is exactly what this moment demands. But here's what I want you to understand. This is not nostalgia. I'm not asking you to go back to rotary phones and handwritten letters. I'm asking you to recognize what those experiences built inside you, and then to use it deliberately in 2026. Because you have something the AI-native generation is going to have to work extremely hard to develop, a baseline understanding that discomfort in relationship is not a signal to leave. It's a signal to stay. You know that fighting with someone and coming out the other side is worth more than 100 clean AI conversations. You felt it. Your body knows it. That knowledge is survival-grade intelligence for the world we're moving into. Now, this is the point where most self-help content would pat you on the back and send you home. But we're not doing that, because awareness without action is just comfortable suffering. And speaking of action, before I give you full playbook, we need to talk about the 3 things almost everyone gets wrong when they try to fix their connection life in the AI era. Because if you do these wrong, you will make the crisis worse. Here are the 3 mistakes first, then the real playbook. Mistake 1, digital detox without replacement architecture. You decide you're going off the apps for 30 days. Great, but your nervous system is now in withdrawal. From dopamine hits, from stimulation, from the illusion of connection, and you have nothing to pour into that void. You white-knuckle it for a week, then come back harder. Sound familiar? The solution is not subtraction. It's substitution. You don't remove connection, you upgrade it. Every digital touchpoint you reduce has to be replaced with a physical or intentional one. This is non-negotiable. Mistake 2, performing depth instead of practicing it. You decide you need real conversations. So you start asking your friends, how are you really doing? And you wait, slightly uncomfortable, hoping they don't actually tell you, because you've been trained by the algorithm to receive information, not to metabolize it. Real depth requires a rebuilt tolerance for another person's full reality. That's a practice. It starts small. It gets uncomfortable. You stay anyway. Mistake 3, treating AI as enemy. This one surprises people. The AI is not the problem. Your relationship to it is. AI is a tool, a powerful one. The humans who win in 2026 will be the ones who use AI strategically, to amplify their human time, not to replace it. Use AI to handle friction that doesn't build relationships, logistics, research, drafting, processing. Free up your human bandwidth for friction that does build them. Presence, conflict, repair, celebration. Now the actual playbook. 5 protocols for navigating the AI-driven connection crisis in 2026. Protocol 1, the presence investment. Choose 3 people in your life, not your whole network. 3, and invest in them with a level of presence that feels almost uncomfortable by modern standards. Show up unannounced occasionally. Call without a reason. Attend things that aren't convenient. Let them see you in your messiness. This is not warmth. This is infrastructure. You are building the human network that will hold you when AI cannot. Protocol 2, the friction practice. Once a week, deliberately seek out a human interaction that has no algorithm behind it. A conversation with a stranger, a local store instead of delivery, a class, a club, a church, a community board meeting. Anything where the other humans didn't get pre-sorted by an AI system designed to show you people who already agree with you. This is your diversity of human signal. This is what keeps the DMN alive. Protocol 3, the repair ritual. If you have a relationship with unspoken tension, and you know who I'm talking about, address it this week. Not because conflict is fun, because repair is the most powerful bonding mechanism humans have. The act of rupture followed by repair literally deepens neural attachment. Every AI in the world is incapable of this. It can only happen between two people who both chose to stay. Protocol 4, the analog anchor. Find one non-digital activity and do it in the company of other humans regularly. It doesn't need to be profound. A running group, a chess club, a cooking class, a poker night. The content is almost irrelevant. What matters is repeated, low-stakes, co-present human time. This is how your grandparents built their social immune systems. It works the same in 2026. Protocol 5, the legacy conversation. This one is for Gen X specifically. You are now the connective tissue between the generation above you, who remember life before screens, and the generation below you, who have never known anything else. You carry something irreplaceable, the lived memory of what unmediated human life actually felt like. Share it, not as nostalgia, as testimony. Tell your kids, your younger colleagues, your millennial friends what it felt like to be bored and survive it, what it felt like to fight with a best friend and have nowhere to go but back to them. That knowledge is not old-fashioned. It is prophetic. Let me bring this home. We started this video with a dinner table, people you love, performing connection at each other, while the real thing quietly slipped away. I wanted to go back to that table, but this time armed with the understanding that what you're fighting is not laziness. It's a system, an engineered environment that profits from your disconnection and sells you the simulation as a substitute, armed with the knowledge that your brain was shaped in ways that give you a genuine neurological advantage in resisting that system. Not because you're better, because you're older, because you were forged before the smoothing, and armed with a playbook, concrete, actionable, built for 2026. Not for some idealized pre-digital past that none of us are going back to. The goal is not to reject the future. The goal is to be human inside it. AI will get better every year. The simulations will get more convincing. The companionship apps will learn your attachment style and play to it with frightening precision. The pressure to substitute will only increase. And the people who survive it, who actually thrive, will be the ones who treated their human relationships like the irreplaceable, non-replicable, profoundly inefficient miracles that they are. You know what a miracle looks like. You felt one. You've probably forgotten a few. 2026 is not the end of human connection. It is the moment that separates the people who were given connection by proximity, by default, by the analog world that made it unavoidable, from the people who are now choosing it. Deliberately, fiercely, against the current. You were shaped for friction. The world just gave you something worth fighting for. Now, go make the call you've been putting off. Walk into the room. Stay in the hard conversation. Let someone see you. That's not advice. That's survival. If this hit differently than what you usually find on this channel, share it with one person who needs it. Not your whole feed. One person. Start there. I'll see you in the next one.